guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen. In today's video I am here to bring you my June wrap up. So in the month of June I had a great reading month. I read a total of 6 books plus 2 graphic novels. In the month of May I had read 8 books, so I'm definitely keeping up with this amazing reading streak, and I'm hoping that I can keep up with it in the month of July as well. I'm just so excited. I'm like 7 books ahead of my Goodreads reading challenge, so I'm so happy. But let's go ahead and get started with the 8 books that I managed to read during the month of June. Okay, so I wanted to start off first with the 2 graphic novels that I read during the month of June, and I read Saga Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I absolutely loved the series. It's so good. I think it's weird, but I love the message of it, and I'm having just so much fun reading this book. So I want to say thank you to everyone who told me I needed to read this graphic novels, because I asked you guys for some graphic novel recommendations, and a lot of you guys said that this is really good, and I know that this is a very beloved graphic novel series here on BookTube, and I can see why I definitely jumped on a bandwagon because it's so good and I loved it. If you guys are still unsure about this graphic novel series, I would so highly recommend it because it is absolutely fantastic. Alright, and so the next book that I read during the month of June was City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. This is the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I loved it. It was so good. I think that so far this is my favorite book in the series. Although I preferred City of Glass's ending. City of Glass had an amazing ending. I really loved it, but I have to say I think that this is my favorite book. I don't know why. It might be the fact that we got to see a lot of Simon Lewis in this book. Simon Lewis is my favorite character so far in this series. I love him to death. So I'm so glad that we got to see more of him in this book. But I'm so thrilled with how she continued the series. I think it was brilliant, and I think I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. I'm not 100% sure, but I really enjoyed this book. Alright, and so the next book that I read during the month of June was Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. This was actually the Biblio Squad's book pick of the month for the month of June, and we did have our live show for this book on July 1st, so I'll leave that link down below if you guys would like to check out all of our spoilery thoughts on this book. But this book was one of my most anticipated reads of 2017, and I was really excited for this, but it just didn't quite live up to my expectations. It was honestly very underwhelming, and I was expecting to be blown away by this book from all the hype surrounding it, but it didn't. I ended up rating this book a 3-star. It was very average. The writing style was gorgeous. It was beautiful, but I thought the story was very average. Don't get me wrong, I still like the story. It has a lot of female empowerment in this book, and I really liked that aspect, and I did like some of the characters on this book, especially the main character and the love interest, but otherwise everything else felt very flat. But if you guys read this book and you really liked it, let me know down in the comments below, because I would love to know what your opinions on this book was, even though I didn't quite love this book. Alright, and so the next book that I read during the month of June was A Torched Against the Night by Saga. This is the sequel to An Amber in the Ashes, and it was amazing. So good. I love this book. If you guys have not read An Amber in the Ashes, please read it because it is absolutely fantastic. I was taken completely by surprise when I read An Amber in the Ashes, I think back in May, because I just picked it up because I was gonna buddy read it with a friend of mine. I was not expecting to love that book as much as I did. I had it on my shelves for a really long time. I bought it because everyone else was talking about it, but I wasn't planning on picking it up very soon, and then I did, and I loved it, and I immediately started reading this book, and it was amazing. This is definitely one of the best sequels I have ever read. I still can't decide whether I love An Amber in the Ashes more than this book, but they're both really fantastic. We get to see more of the world, and we definitely get to see more of the magic system of this book. Saga on her Twitter account, she says she's working on book number 3, and I'm so excited. It's supposed to come out next year, and it better come out next year because I cannot wait any longer for the 3rd book. I actually did a book talk on An Amber in the Ashes, so I'll leave that link down below for you guys, and I'm also planning on doing a book talk on this book as well, so be on the lookout for that. Alright, and so the next book that I read during the month of June was 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I actually listened to the audiobook for this book because I unhauled my copy of 13 Reasons Why last year, because this is an unpopular opinion, but I do not like 13 Reasons Why. I think it has a lot of issues. I don't think it quite captured what a person with suicide thoughts and a person who goes through bullying correctly, at least in the book. The reason reason why I read this book, this is my second time reading this book, is because of the TV show. I am planning on watching the TV show very, very soon, and a lot of people told me that while they didn't themselves like the book, they actually really liked the TV series. So I'm hoping that the TV series is better. I like the message that Jay Asher is trying to portray with 13 Reasons Why, but I still had a lot of issues with the book. I don't think it's perfect, and it is the reason why I did give the book 3 stars. But I know that my opinion is unpopular, and if you guys like that book, I am so happy for you, because I really, really wanted to enjoy the book, but I honestly didn't. Alright, and so the next book that I picked up during the month of June was 3 Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake, and I read this for Read-A-Rama week. I actually started reading it. I never actually ended up finishing during Read-A-Rama week, but this is definitely one of the worst books I've read this year. I gave it a 2-star rating. The premise is very, very interesting, and it's very, very good. It's about these 3 triplets that are born every generation, and they are the next queens of this kingdom, but there can only be one queen, so they each have to fight each other. They have to kill each other until only one remains. So that's the premise of the book. It sounds really, really interesting and fantastic, but I feel it fell short of that amazing premise. The plot was all over the place. There was a lot of plot holes and inconsistencies. I felt like the author introduced way too many people at the beginning, because we do have 3 main characters, and then with those main characters there's a bunch of side characters, so there's a lot of people that we have to keep track of, and sometimes I just got overwhelmed and I ended up forgetting who's who. There's also a love triangle in this book with an insta love within a love triangle, but it happens for a reason. There's something that happens in the book that causes that insta love and therefore causes the love triangle. I still hated it. It is the worst love triangle I've ever read, and I wanted to burn this book because of it. I hated it with a passion. Usually don't mind love triangles too much. I don't think they're the best thing ever in literature, but I don't mind it. I'm not someone who absolutely hates love triangles at all, but I hate this love triangle. There were so many times I wanted to chuck this book against the wall. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't. Now, I know a lot of people love this book, and I'm sorry that I didn't. I found a lot of issues with this book. I cannot stand it. The only saving grace of this book for me was the ending. The ending was absolutely spectacular. I did not see that coming. It was amazing, and it is the only reason why I will be reading the sequel to this book, which is coming out in September. Alright, and so the final book that I read during the month of June was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I also read this book for Read-A-Rama week, which the challenge was to read a book under 150 pages, and this is about 148 pages, I think. I still don't know how I feel about this book, even though it's been almost a month since I read it. I like the message of the book. I really do. I really enjoyed it, but the execution of the message was not great. Sometimes the author went on these tangents about time traveling and the science behind it that completely went over my head, and I was just like, what is going on? There were many times where I was just confused. I didn't know what was happening. I did give this book 2 stars. Definitely not as bad as 3 Dark Crowns. I definitely enjoyed this book more. I guess it's just not for me. Like, I know that there's plenty of you out there who probably really enjoyed this book. I get that. I really do, and I really wanted to like this book, but I couldn't. Alright guys, so those are all of the books that I managed to read during the month of June. Let me know down in the comments below how your reading month went, because I have been having such a great reading streak recently, and I'm hoping that I can keep up with it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you'd like to be friends. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day guys, and keep reading. Bye!